Hi students, I am Prakash, Chartered Accountant and acting as academic advisor in Masterminds from the past 20 years. Here is a short video introducing matchless Masterminds briefly for the convenience of the students who came to this channel for the first time. Masterminds was established in the year 2002 and has been acting as a reliable platform to offer coaching for CA and CMA courses. Masterminds is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CEC, CA and CMA courses with nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. This is an incredible initiative by three edupreneurs, namely Mohan, Radha and Prakash, that is me. All three qualified CA at a very young age of 21 years and started this organization under the mentorship of my father, Mr. M. Siv Prasad Garu. So Mr. Mohan is my brother and Radha is my sister-in-law. And by the way, it's me, Prakash, Chartered Accountant. So here are the courses for which we offer the coaching. We offer coaching for MEC, CEC groups exclusively at intermediate level. And we also offer integrated coaching for MEC along with CA, CMA Foundation. And we also take exclusive admissions for CA, CMA Foundation or CA, CMA Inter. And we also offer coaching for CA, CMA final level as well. Recently, we have started a unique academic program at intermediate level, that is MEC Pro, aiming for the students who want to pursue BBA or MBA or CLAT courses in future rather than CA or CMA, and we have received a huge applause for the same. So 20 years of experience, and we have finished more than 155 batches of CA or CMA Inter in Guntur alone and similar number of batches in all our branches together. So till now completed 17 batches of CMA Inter and 18th batch is going on. Successfully completed 25 batches of CA final till now and 26th batch is running now, and we have also successfully completed 4 CA or CMA final batches in Hyderabad. So till now our students are able to achieve 990 All India ranks at various levels of CA, CMA courses, and our students are able to achieve first rank for 48 times in various courses for which we offer coaching. So in a single year, our students are able to achieve 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020, and till now our students are able to achieve state first rank at MEC intermediate level for 18 times, that too 8 times in a row. In a single attempt, our students are able to grab 98 All India ranks at CMA Inter and final results of January 2021 and our All India ranks in February 2022 CA results. And here are the 10 All India ranks in CA final results of 2021 alone. And till now, our students are able to secure 93 All India ranks at IPCCR CA Inter level in the last 9 years. And here is our physical presence: Guntur, Vijayawada, Hyderabad, Amirpet, Dilshuk Nagar, Vizag, Tirupati, Kurnool and Rajahmundry. And here are the locations where we have branches. And here are the contact numbers. Here is the list of our physical presence and here is the list of our online presence. And for your kind information, we don't have branches in any other locations other than stated here. So please do install our Android app Masterminds Online Classes from Google Play Store, and if you belong to iOS platform, then install an app called Class Plus from Apple Store and enter the organization code as MZGUN. In this app, you can find a large number of useful content like regular batch videos, crash batch videos, rapid revision batches, guidance classes, motivational videos, amendment videos, masterminds, test series, whatnot. Large amount of useful content is already available in the app. In our app, you can find a section called study material where large amount of free content is also available. Until now, more than 24,000 students have already downloaded our app, and we are nearing to 25,000. Sir, is it possible to interact with the directors directly? Yes. If it is an administrative issue, you need to contact Mr. Mohan sir on this mail ID. If it is academic issue, you need to contact me on this mail ID. So thanks to all our students who are our true brand ambassadors and who helped us to reach this position. All the best.
Hello everyone, I am Sainath, your business laws faculty. Today I am going to cover RTP of May 2022 attempt, and this is regarding business law subject in CA foundation level. Okay, let's start with question number 1. A enters into a contract with B that he sells his house for rupees 10 lakhs to B. Further, they both signed an agreement that if B uses the house for gambling purposes, that is illegal purposes, then B shall pay A rupees 50,000 for it. B agreed to this. However, after a year of sale, B started gambling business in that house. Can A claim 50,000 from B? Discuss with reference to the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872. Okay, let's see the facts now. Who are the parties involved here? A and B. So what happened here? So A made an agreement with B. So what are the terms of agreement? A will sell his house to B for a consideration of rupees 10 lakhs. And there is one more clause in the agreement. What is that clause? B need to pay rupees 50,000 in addition to 10 lakh when he uses that house for gambling purpose. So this is the agreement which is made in between A and B. So A want to sold his house to B and B has to pay rupees 10 lakhs for purchasing house and rupees 50,000 for using that house for gambling purpose. Okay, what happens when your agreement is lawful? So when the agreement is lawful, there is no doubt in it, the contract is valid. Okay, what happens when the agreement is unlawful? When your agreement is unlawful, then the contract is invalid or void. So when you created a contract for lawful purpose, it is valid. When you created a contract for unlawful purpose, it is invalid. But the problem is here, the agreement contains both lawful activities as well as unlawful activities. Now what is the validity? So here we need to check whether both are separable or not. Yes, in this case both are separable. When both are separable, the legal part is valid and the illegal part is void. If both are inseparable, then the entire contract need to be treated as invalid. But here, legal one can be separated from illegal one. That means the legal part is valid. So this is valid and the illegal part is void, that is invalid. So here the entire agreement is not valid. Similarly, here the entire agreement is not invalid. Here, the promise to pay rupees 10 lakhs for the purchase of house, it is valid. The promise to pay rupees 50,000 for using that house for gambling purpose, it is invalid. So this is partly valid, partly invalid. So that is the answer you need to write in the exam. Next question. Seema was running a boutique in New Delhi. She has to deliver some cloth to her friend Kiran, who was putting up an exhibition at Mumbai. Seema delivered the sewing machine and some cloth to a railway company to be delivered at a place where the exhibition was to be held. Seema expected to earn an exceptional profit from the sales made at this exhibition. However, she did not bring this fact to the notice of the railway authorities. So this is the key point here. The goods were delivered at the place after the conclusion of exhibition, that is after the completion of exhibition. On account of such breach of contract by railway authorities, can Seema recover the loss of profits under the Indian Contract Act 1872? So here, who are the parties involved? Seema and railway authorities. Railway authorities. So what happened here? Here, Seema made a contract with railway authorities in order to deliver certain goods, that is sewing machine and cloth. Okay, whatever it may be, let's take it as goods. So Seema made an agreement with railway authorities. Okay, she paid certain money to railway authorities in order to deliver these goods to a place where the exhibition is going to be held. Nothing but exhibition place. Okay, so why she want to deliver those goods to exhibition place? Because she want to sell those goods in that exhibition and she want to make an exceptional profit there. So that is the reason why she want to deliver those goods to the place of exhibition. So for this purpose only she made an agreement with railway authorities. Okay, but because of delay in delivery by railway authorities, so the goods are not delivered at the time of exhibition. The goods are delivered after the completion of exhibition. Now, Seema lost profits. Why she lost profits? Because if railway authorities delivered those items by within time limit, then Seema can earn exceptional profits out of it. But railway authorities failed to do so. So that is the reason why Seema lost the profits which may she earn in exhibition. Now she want to recover damages for this loss. So is it possible to recover damages for this type of loss? Yes, it is possible, but only when Seema communicated about this to railway authorities. But in this case, she did not bring this fact to the notice of railway authorities. That means she had not communicated about this information to railway authorities, which means she can't claim any damages for this loss because this is a special loss. So for special loss, the special circumstances must be communicated to the other party. Here, those circumstances are not communicated to the other party, that is railway authorities. That is the reason why Seema can't recover any damage for this special loss. Next one. Chandan was suffering from some disease and was in great pain. He went to Dr. Junjunwala, whose consultation fee was rupees 300. The doctor agreed to treat him, but on the condition that Chandan had to sign a promissory note of rupees 5,000 payable to doctor. Here, what is the service charge? 300 only. But how much he is charging? 5,000. Nothing but here doctor is exploiting the weak position of patient. So this is a clear-cut case of undue influence. Sir, why you are calling it as undue influence? Because not to call anything as undue influence, there must be relation. Yes, here there is a relation between Chandan and Junjunwala. What is that relation? Patient and doctor. And one party must be in dominating position. Yes, who is in dominating position here? Doctor, that is Junjunwala. And he has to utilize his position. Yes, he utilized his position to get unfair advantage. Yes, he is getting unfair advantage of rupees 4,700. So he is getting 4,700 extra rupees by using his position against patient. So all conditions are satisfied. That's why this is the clear-cut case of undue influence. Okay, Chandan signed the promissory note and gave it to doctor. On recovering from the disease, Chandan refused to honor the promissory note. State with reasons, can doctor recover the amount of promissory note under the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872? Answer is no. Because whenever undue influence is involved, then the contract will become voidable at the option of aggrieved party. If aggrieved party chooses to resign the contract, then the contract will become void. So when contract becomes void, then how this doctor can recover 5,000 rupees based on that promissory note which is considered as void? So here the recovery of 5,000 rupees is not possible, but he can recover 300. It is okay for his services, but he can't recover entire 5,000 rupees. Next one. Mr. Asim is a learned advocate. His car was stolen from his house. He gave an advertisement in newspaper that he will give the reward of rupees 10,000. Who will give the information about his car? Mr. Vikram reads the advertisement and on making some efforts got the stolen car and informed Mr. Asim. Mr. Asim found his car but denied giving reward of rupees 10,000 to Mr. Vikram with the words, an advertisement in newspaper is just an invitation to make an offer and not an offer. Hence, he is not liable to make the reward. State with reasons whether under Indian Contract Act 1872, Mr. Vikram can claim the reward of rupees 10,000. So for answering this question, first of all, we should know about the advertisements. Whether advertisement amounts to offer or invitation to offer. So advertisement will amounts to invitation to offer as well as general offer. So what is meant by general offer? General offer is nothing but offer made to entire public. So if you made an advertisement to entire public, it is nothing but general offer only. Okay. Then when we need to call advertisement as invitation to offer and when we need to call advertisement as general offer. So you need to look into the intention of the party making it. If the party who want to make advertisement has an intention to get acceptance from public, then it will be called as general offer. If you intend to get offers from public, then it will be called as invitation to offer. Okay, now let's see the facts of this case. Mr. Asim. So he made an advertisement. So what is that advertisement? So actually he lost his car. So he made an advertisement to pay rupees 10,000 as reward for the person who gave information about the lost car. So here he is expecting acceptance from the public but not offers. So what happens when he expecting acceptance from the public and he made an advertisement? Then such advertisement will become general offer. So it will become general offer. Okay, now what happened? So Mr. Vikram gave the information about lost car. So he fulfilled the conditions which are mentioned in general offer. That's why now he is entitled to claim the reward of rupees 10,000 from Mr. Asim. But Mr. Asim argument is it is not general offer, it is invitation to offer. Is it valid? No. Here the contention of Mr. Asim is completely invalid, because when you made any advertisement with an intention to get acceptance from the public, then definitely it will amount to general offer. It will not amount to invitation to offer. And fulfilling the conditions mentioned in the general offer will amount to acceptance, and a valid contract will get created. So here there is a valid contract in between Mr. Asim and Mr. Vikram. So as per this valid contract, Mr. Vikram fulfill his promise and Mr. Asim need to fulfill his promise. That is, he need to pay rupees 10,000 to Mr. Vikram. So in this case, Mr. Vikram can claim the reward of rupees 10,000. Next one. Mr. Singhania entered into a contract with Mr. Sonu to sing in his hotel for 6 weeks on every Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Singhania promised to pay rupees 20,000 for every performance. Mr. Sonu performed for 2 weeks, but on 3rd week, his health condition was very bad, so he did not come to sing. Mr. Singhania terminated the contract, stated in the light of provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872. Can Mr. Singhania terminate the contract with Mr. Sonu? So in this case, there is a contract between Singhania and Sonu. So who are the parties involved here? Singhania and Sonu. Singhania and Sonu. So Singhania made a promise to pay certain money, and Sonu made a promise to sing at theatre of Singhania. Okay, this is the contract which is made in between Singhania and Sonu. Okay, Sonu performed his contract for 2 weeks, but on 3rd week he failed to perform the contract. So this is a clear-cut case of breach of contract. So here there is a breach of contract on behalf of Sonu. So what happens when one of the contracting party commits breach of contract? So when one of the contracting party commits breach of contract, then other party can avoid the contract. So in this case, Singhania can avoid the contract. So here there is a breach of contract on part of Sonu. Now Singhania can terminate the contract. That means he can cancel the contract, or he may continue the contract. It is his own wish. So if you want to cancel, he can cancel, or if you want to continue, he can continue. But here there is a problem. If you want to cancel that contract, he need to cancel that contract forever. So at later point of time, he can't continue the contract. Similarly, if he decide to continue the contract, at later point of time, he can't cancel that contract. That means if the option was once chosen, then it cannot be altered at any situation. So if he chooses to cancel once, then he must cancel it. If he chooses to continue it once, then he must continue it. Can Mr. Singhania terminate the contract with Mr. Sonu? Yes, here Mr. Sonu committed breach of contract, so Mr. Singhania can terminate the contract. Answer is yes. What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu turns up in 4th week and Mr. Singhania allows him to perform without saying anything? Okay, now on 3rd week, Mr. Sonu commits breach of contract, but on 5th week, he wants to participate in the theatre. Okay, now Mr. Singhania also allowed that person to sing at his theatre, which means he wants to continue the contract, because he allowed Mr. Sonu to sing song in that theater. So that is the reason why Mr. Singhania wants to continue the contract. Can he continue the contract? Yes, he can continue the contract. But once if he chooses to continue the contract, then he can't cancel the contract. So here cancellation of contract is not possible because he already agreed to continue it. Next one. What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu sends Mr. Micah on his place in third week and Mr. Singhania allows him to perform without saying anything? So sending other person is also a breach of contract. So here there is a breach of contract. So Mr. Singhania is free to cancel the contract. But instead of cancelling contract, he allowed that party to sing at his theater, which means he agreed to continue the contract. What happens once he agreed to continue the contract? He can't cancel the contract at later point of time. So here the cancellation is not possible because he agreed to continue the contract. So only in first case cancellation is possible. But in second case and third case cancellation is not possible because the person, that is agreed person, is decided to continue the contract. Next one, question number 6. An anticipatory breach of contract is a breach of contract occurring before the time fixed for performance has arrived. Discuss stating also the effect of anticipatory breach of contracts. So breach of contract means non-performance of contract. If any one of the party failed to perform the contract, then it will be called as breach of contract. This breach of contract is of two types. One is actual breach of contract and the second one is anticipatory breach of contract. Then what is meant by actual breach and what is meant by anticipatory breach? So if the contract was not performed on due date, then it will be called as actual breach of contract. If one of the party communicates to the other party that he is not going to perform the contract on due date, then it will be called as anticipatory breach of contract. In simple words, if the due date is 1st April 2022 and parties fail to perform the contract on due date itself, that is on 1/4/2022 itself, then it will be called as actual breach of contract. If in the same case, that means if 1/4/2022 is a due date and party said I will not perform the contract on 1/3/2022 itself, that is here there is a breach of contract which is happened before due date. So this type of breach of contract will be called as anticipatory breach of contract. So now say what is meant by actual breach? The breach of contract which is happened on due date. So here 1/4/2022 is the due date. If the breach of contract is happened on 1/4/2022 itself, then it will be called as actual breach. If the breach of contract is happened before 1/4/2022, like this, then it will be called as anticipatory breach of contract. Okay, now what are the rights available to aggrieved party? So in case of anticipatory breach of contract, aggrieved party can cancel the contract on 1/3/2022 itself. That is the date on which the contract was not performed. Okay, or he may wait till 1/4/2022 and then he can file a case. That means in case of anticipatory breach of contract, that is breach of contract which is happened before due date, aggrieved party is having two options. What are those two options? He can file a case immediately and he can cancel the contract, or he may wait till due date and then he can file a case and he can cancel the contract. So whatever the option, so he can choose that option. Next one. But here there is a one problem. So what that problem means? So if we decided to file the case immediately, then there is no issue. But if we decided to wait till due date, then if anything is happened which makes the contract void, then he will lose all his rights. Say for example, the contract was not performed on 1/3/2022, but the due date is 1/4/2022. Okay, here this is anticipatory breach of contract. Now aggrieved party decide to wait till due date, that is 1/4/2022. Now meanwhile on 15th March 2022, subsequent impossibility has happened here. So because of this subsequent impossibility, now the contract is void. So after that contract becomes void, he can't file a case for breach of contract. So if he decide to wait till due date, if the contract becomes void meanwhile, then he can't enforce the contract. He can't get his rights as an agreed party in breach of contract. He will lose all his rights if anything is happened like this. Next one. So in meanwhile, if defaulting party, that is the party who commits breach of contract, agreed to perform the contract, then agreed party must accept that performance. Because the agreed party has not cancelled this contract. This contract is still alive. That's why if defaulting party offers to perform the contract once again, then agreed party must accept that performance. So these are the two consequences which agreed party need to face when he decides to wait till due date. So if he take immediate action, then no problem. But if he waits till due dates, then he need to accept the performance if it is accepted by defaulting party, and if anything is happened to contract and made that contract void, then he will lose all his rights and agreed party in a breach of contract. Next one. AB Cloth House, a firm dealing with wholesale and retail buying and selling of various kinds of cloths, customized as per the requirements of the customers. They dealt with silk, organdie, cotton, khadi, chiffon and many other different varieties of cloth. Mrs. Rima, a customer, came to the shop and asked for specific type of cloth suitable for making a sari for her daughter's wedding. So here she clearly communicated her purpose to the seller. What happens when purpose is communicated to the seller? Then the seller has to select best goods which is suitable for that purpose. Okay, she specifically mentioned that she required cotton silk cloth. So she made description also. What is the description? She want cotton silk cloth which is best suited for the purpose. The shop owner agreed and arranged the cloth pieces cut into as per the buyer's requirement. When Rima went to the tailor for getting the sari stitched, she found that seller has supplied cotton organdie material which was not suitable for the said purpose. It has heavily starched and not suitable for making the sari that Rima desired for. The tailor asked Rima to return the cotton organdie cloth as it would not meet his requirements. The shop owner refused to return the cloth on the plea that it was cut to specific requirements of Mrs. Rima and hence could not be resold. With reference to the doctrine of caveat emptor, explain the duty of the buyer as well as the seller. Also explain whether Mrs. Rima would able to get money back or right kind of cloth as per the requirement. So first of all, this is a scenario based question. So first you need to provide theory answer. So what theory answer we need to provide here? We need to provide the doctrine of caveat emptor rule as well as its exceptions. So as per doctrine of caveat emptor, let the buyer be aware. That means buyer has to make proper selection of goods. If he fails to make proper selection of goods, then seller is not responsible for it. So it is buyer's duty to make best selection of goods. But there are certain exceptional cases. In those exceptional cases, it is the duty of seller to give best goods to the buyer. Then what are those exceptional cases? So these are those exceptional cases. When purpose of the contract is communicated to the seller, then the seller need to select best goods. If goods are purchased under patent or brand name which is suggested by the seller, then seller is liable. When there is any description in the contract, then seller must deliver the goods according to the description only. When goods are having merchantable quality, then it is okay. If there is no merchantable quality, then seller will become liable. When goods are sold under sample, then the goods must correspond with sample. So this is the main duty of seller. As well as if there is sample as well as description, then goods must match with both sample and description. And if there is any usage of trade to create a duty against seller, then seller will have a duty as per that usage of trade. If there is any fraud by seller, then seller is liable. So in all these cases, there is duty on seller. In all these cases, seller is liable. But in general cases, buyer is liable. So doctrine of caveat emptor, general rule is about duty of buyer and exceptions are about duty of seller. Then what is the answer for this question? So in this case, she clearly specified that she required cotton silk, but here seller delivered organdie cloth, so which is not suitable for the said purpose, and which is not matched with the description also. So here the description is cotton, silk, cloth, but what is the nature of the goods? Here the goods are nothing but organ dye cloth, which is not suitable. So here the description was not matched. So Miss Rima can resign the contract, or she can return the organ dye cloth to the seller, and she can claim cotton, silk, cloth instead of that. So she can do any of these remedies. So she would be able to get money back. Answer is yes. Or she would be able to write kind of cloth. Yes. So anything is okay, because the goods does not match with the description made by the buyer. And moreover, buyer communicates her purpose to seller. So here it is the duty of seller to make best selection of goods. Here the goods are not of best selection. So that is the reason why here seller is liable. So whatever the provision it may be, ultimate answer is seller is liable. Next one. A went to B shop and selected some jewelry. He falsely represented himself to be a man of credit, thereby persuaded B to take the payment of check. So clearly this is the case of fraud. So what happens when the contract is created out of fraud? Then the contract will become voidable at the option of aggrieved party. Okay, he further requested him to hand over the particular type of ring immediately. On due date, when seller, that is B, represented the check for payment, the check was found to be dishonored. Before B could avoid the contract on the ground of fraud by A, he sold the ring to the C. C had taken the ring in good faith and without any notice of fact that the goods with A were under a voidable contract. In simple words, C is an innocent person. Discuss if such a sale made by non-owner is valid or not as per the provisions of Sale of Goods Act 1930. So here what are the facts? So A made fraud. So A made fraud and he made B to enter into a contract with him to sell ring. Okay. Now there is a contract in between A and B. So here the contract is for the sale of ring. But this contract is created because of fraud which is committed by A against B. So what is the validity of this contract? Now this contract is voidable. At whose option? At the option of B. Now B has two options. He can continue the contract or he can cancel the contract. So he can continue it or he can cancel it. Now A, who is having a ring, so he made a further sale to C and C bought this ring by paying money to A. And he was an innocent person. He does not know about all these things. So he purchased that ring innocently by paying money. Now the question is, will this C get ownership? Answer is yes. Sir, why sir? Because there is a rule called as nemo.quod non-habet, which means no one can transfer what he has not got. In simple words, seller must have ownership in order to transfer ownership to the buyer. But this rule is having certain exceptions. One of the exceptions is sale under voidable contract. So one of the exceptions is sale under voidable contract. So here A made a sale under the voidable contract which is made with B. Okay, in case of sale under voidable contract, in order to transfer ownership to the subsequent buyer, that is C, certain conditions must be satisfied. Okay, what are those conditions? Let's see. So the person must have the possession of goods under a voidable contract. Here person means seller. Yes, A is having possession of ring which is acquired under a voidable contract. So first condition is satisfied. Second one, the contract has not been rescinded or avoided so far. That means here B had not opted to cancel the contract. That means this condition is also satisfied. If he opted to cancel the contract, then ownership will not get transferred to C. But in this case, the cancellation is not yet done. So he has not yet opted to cancel the contract. The contract is not yet rescinded. So second condition is also satisfied. Third one, the person having possession sells it to a buyer. Yes, A sold that ring to C. Third condition is also satisfied. The buyer acts in good faith and the buyer has no knowledge that the seller has no right to sell. Yes, both these conditions are satisfied. Here C is an innocent person who bought the ring in good faith and for value. So all conditions are satisfied. So what happens when all conditions are satisfied? Then a non-owner can also convey better title. That means here a non-owner can convey a better title, that is ownership to C. So answer is yes, C will get ownership because all the conditions are satisfied. Next one. Classify the following transactions according to the types of goods they are. So goods are of three types. Goods are of three types. First one is existing. Second one is future. And third one is contingent. And existing goods are further classified into three types: unascertained, ascertained, and specific. So existing goods means what? So these are the goods which are readily available with the seller at the time of contract of sale. So if goods are readily available with the seller, then it will be called as existing goods. So the goods are not readily available with the seller, he need to acquire them or he need to produce them, then they are called as future goods. If they are readily available, existing. If they are not readily available, then they are future. Then what about contingent contracts? So these are the goods which are not available with seller, but he will acquire those goods, but that acquisition is dependent upon uncertain event which may happen or may not happen. So that type of goods are known as contingent goods. Next one. Existing goods are further classified into three types. So unascertained, ascertained, specific. So if the agreed quantity of goods is not selected from the bulk, then the entire bulk will be called as unascertained goods. If agreed quantity of goods are selected from the bulk, then it will be called as, that is the agreed quantity of goods will be called as ascertained. Say for example, I want a mobile out of 100 mobiles. So I had not selected any mobile yet. Now those 100 mobiles will be called as unascertained goods. Now I select one mobile and I set aside. Now that one mobile will become ascertained goods. So when it is unselected, the entire goods will be called as unascertained. If it is selected, then the selected item will be called as ascertained goods. Then what about specific goods? So these are the goods which is identified at the time of creation of contract. So no need of any selection, because seller is having only one car to sell. Now I made a contract with purchase this car. Is there any selection required? Not required, because there is only one car and I also need only one car. So selection is not required. Here this car will be called as specific good. Now we need to identify the type of the goods in these three cases. First one, a wholesaler of cotton has 100 bales in his godown, nothing but bulk. He agreed to sell 50 bales. Agreed quantity is 50 bales only. And these bales were selected and set aside, which means 50 bales are selected and set aside. So here these 50 bales will be called as ascertained goods. If there is no selection like this, then 100 bales will be called as unascertained goods. But here the selection is completed. That's why the selected item, that is the 50 goods, will be called as ascertained goods. Next one. A agrees to sell to B one packet of sugar out of lot of 100 packets lying in his shop. So here the selection is not yet made. Here that one packet is not set aside. That means here the entire 100 packets will be called as unascertained goods, because the selection is not yet made. Next one. And both are existing goods only. Both are existing goods. Next one. T agrees to sell to S all the apples which will be produced in his garden this year. That means the seller is not having the possession of those goods as of now. So these goods are not readily available with the seller. What happens when goods are not readily available with the seller? Then those goods will be called as future goods. Those goods will be called as future goods. So answer is first one ascertained, second one unascertained, third one future goods. Next one. Certain goods were sold by sample by A to B, who in turn sold the same goods to by sample to C, and C by sample sold the goods to D. The goods were not according to the sample. Okay. Therefore, D, who found the deviation of the goods from the sample, rejected the goods and gave a notice to C. C sued B and B sued A. Advised B and C under the Sale of Goods Act 1930. So, who are the parties involved here? A, B, C, D. So A sold goods based on sample. So he sold goods based on sample, and B sold goods, those goods, same goods only, for sample. C sold goods based on sample. But what is the problem here? The goods does not correspond with the sample. Okay. So D observed this point and he rejected the goods. Yes, he can reject the goods. He can reject the goods and he can claim damages also, because there is a deviation in sample and bulk. Then what about C? Can he reject the goods and can he return the goods to B? Answer is no. Sir, why sir? Why he can't reject the goods? Because he made further sale. He made further sale. So it is not possible for him to cancel this contract. Then what about D sir? Why he is having right to resign the contract? Because he did not make any further sale. So that is the reason why he can reject the goods. But what about C? He made the further sale to D. That's why he can't reject the goods. Then what he can do? He can claim damages from B. That's it. Okay, then what about B? So B can also claim damages from A. In simple words, B and C are entitled to claim damages only. But what about D? He can claim damages as well as he can reject the goods. Next one. Sohan, Rohan and Jay were partners in a firm. The firm is dealer in office furniture. They have regular dealings with Messrs. AB and Co. for the supply of furniture for their business. On 30th June 2018, one of the partners, that is Mr. J, died in a road accident. The firm has ordered Messrs. AB and Co. to supply the furniture for their business on 25th May 2018, when J was also alive. Now Sohan and Rohan continue the business in the firm's name after Jay's death. The firm did not give any notice about Jay's death to the public or the persons dealing with the firm. Messrs. AB and Co. delivered the furniture to the firm on 25th July 2018. The fact about Jay's death was known to them at the time of delivery of goods. Afterwards, the firm became insolvent and failed to pay the price of furniture to Messrs. AB and Co. Now Messrs. AB and Co. has filed a case against the firm for the recovery of the price of the furniture. With reference to the provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932, explain whether Jay's private asset is also liable for the price of furniture purchased by the firm. So very lengthy question but easy to answer. So who are the partners involved? Sohan, Rohan, Jay. Sohan, Rohan, Jay. So partners in a partnership firm. Okay, what happened here? Messrs. AB and Co. So they made a purchase order. They made a purchase order with Messrs. AB and Co. Okay, now Messrs. AB and Co. has to deliver the goods that are required by the firm. But meanwhile, what happened? Meanwhile, J was expired. He was expired. After his expiry, Messrs. AB and Co. delivered the goods to remaining partners, that is Sohan and Rohan. Okay, now when the liability of goods is created, so this liability is created after the expiry of J only, because the date at which purchase order is made is not relevant. The date at which the delivery is made is relevant. So the date of delivery will create liability on the firm. So here the liability was created clearly after the expiry of J. So what happens to J's estate if any liability arises after the date of death? J's estate is not liable. Why sir? Because if liability arises while he was still alive, then only his estate is liable for it. But this liability arises after the death of J. So that is the reason why his estate is not liable to pay for those goods. Okay, then what Messrs. AB and Co. do? So they can recover the price from remaining partners, that is Sohan and Rohan. But there is a twist in this question. What is the twist? Here Sohan and Rohan both become insolvent. Now nothing is there in their hands to repay this price. They both are insolvent. Now how this person can recover dues? So here he can't recover any dues because J is not liable, because the liability is created after his death, and remaining partners are liable but they are not having any asset to pay that amount because they become insolvent persons. So here they are also not liable ultimately. So the entire price will become bad debt to Messrs. AB and Co. That's it. So the firm can't recover anything from J or from remaining partners. Next one. Moni and Tony were partners in the firm Mercer's Motto and Company. They admitted Sony as partner in the firm and he is actively engaged in day-to-day activities of the firm. There is a tradition in the firm that all active partners will get a monthly remuneration of 20,000 rupees, but no express agreement was there. After admission of Sony in the firm, Moni and Tony were continuing getting salary from the firm, but no salary was given to Sony from the firm. Sony claimed his remuneration but denied by existing partners by saying that there was no express agreement for that. Whether under Indian Partnership Act 1932, Sony can claim remuneration from the firm. So this concept is about claiming remuneration from the firm. Firm. M, T, S. Three parties. So M, Moni. T, Tony. S, Sony. Okay. Previously, these two people are acting like partners in a partnership firm. And in that firm, they are getting remunerations also. They are getting remunerations. Is it mandatory to firm to pay remuneration to active partner? No. It is not mandatory. But if it want to pay remuneration, it can pay. There is no issue. But it is not mandatory to pay remuneration to the partners. But if there is any agreement to this effect, then firm need to pay remuneration to partners. So if in the absence of agreement, no need to pay any remuneration to partners. If there is agreement to pay remuneration, then firm need to pay remuneration to partners. But in the absence of agreement only, these two partners are getting remuneration from the firm. Now they admitted Sony as a partner. Now in total there are three partners. But these two people are getting remuneration and Sony is not getting any remuneration. So Sony asked other partners to pay remuneration, but other partners denied like this. So in the absence of agreement, no partner is entitled to claim remuneration. So here there is no agreement, so you can't get any remuneration. Like this they argued. So is their argument correct? Answer is no. Why? Because actually no need to pay any remuneration to the partners. It is not mandatory. But if there is any agreement to this effect, then paying remuneration will become mandatory. If there is any habit to the firm to pay remunerations, then paying remuneration will become mandatory. So in this case there is no agreement, I too agree. But here there is a habit to the firm to pay remuneration to active partners. So now Sony is also an active partner. So he is also eligible to get remuneration. So answer is, in this case the content which is made by other partners is invalid and Sony can get remuneration from the firm because of firm's habit to pay remuneration to other partners. If there is no habit like that, then in the absence of agreement and in the absence of habit, Sony can't get any remuneration. But here there is a habit to the firm to pay remuneration. So that is the reason why Sony can get his remuneration. Next one. Mercer's XYZ and Company is a partnership firm. The firm is an unregistered firm. The firm has purchased some iron rods from another partnership firm, Mercer's LMN and Company, which is also an unregistered firm. So LMN Company, XYZ Company, both are partnership firms only and both are unregistered firms. So what is the main disadvantage of unregistered firm? They can't file a case against other parties. Okay, next. Mercer's XYZ and Company could not pay the price within the time as decided. Mercer's LMN and Company has filed a suit against Mercer's XYZ and Company for the recovery of price. It is not possible because it is the unregistered firm. Stated under the provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932, whether Mrs. LMN and Company can file the suit against Mrs. XYZ and Company? Answer is no. Why? Because LMN Company is unregistered. So the person who is filing case is unregistered firm. So when unregistered firm files a case, it is unenforceable. What would be your answer in case Mrs. XYZ and Company is a registered firm, Mrs. LMN and Company is unregistered firm? Here who is filing case? LMN and Company. That means here who is unregistered firm? The person who is filing case is an unregistered firm. So that is the reason why there will be no change in the answer. So here also the case is unenforceable because it is filed by unregistered partnership firm. In both cases the agreement is unenforceable. Okay, let's see third case. What would be your answer in case Mrs. XYZ Company is unregistered one and while LMN and Company is a registered one? Now who is filing case? LMN and Company. Is it registered or unregistered? Registered. So this case is enforceable. So in both these cases LMN is unregistered firm. That's why unenforceable. Here element is registered one, that's why it is enforceable. Next question number 40. LLP is an alternative corporate business form that gives the benefit of limited liability of company and flexibility of a partnership. Explain. Yes, LLP is an alternative for company. LLP is an alternative to company as well as partnership form. Okay, in partnership form there will be unlimited liability. So in LLP there is only limited liability. That's why it is a better alternative to partnership form. Okay, then let's come to company. So in case of company, there is no flexibility like partnership form. So in case of company, you need to follow the Companies Act, but you have no flexibility to design your own terms and conditions, your own rights and duties, your own authority. So Companies Act is not flexible like that, but LLP Act is more flexible. So it is more flexible just like partnership forms. So that is the reason why it is alternative to company also. So it is alternative to partnership. Why? Because of limited liability. It is alternative to company. Why? Because of flexibility in organizing internal governance structure. Next question. Jagannath Oils Limited is a public company and having 220 members. Yes, it is a public company. It can have unlimited number of members. So 220 is not a big deal. Out of which 25 members were employees in the company during the 1st April 2006 to 20th June 2016. Okay, 25 members are employee members. They were allotted shares in Jagannath Oils Limited first time on 1st July 2007, which were sold by them on 1st August 2016. After some time on 1st December 2016, each of those 25 members acquired the shares in Jagannath Oils Limited, which they are holding till date. Now they are not employee members because so they left the company, they sold those shares, and at later point of time they again bought those shares. But now they bought those shares as a normal person, not as an employee. That's why now those 25 members are not called as employee shareholders. That means 220 members are normal shareholders only, and no employee shareholder was involved in this count. Whether Jagannath Oil now company wants to convert itself into a private company. Is it possible to convert public into private? Yes. But for this purpose, you need to reduce number of members to 200. State with reasons whether Jagannath Oil Limited is required to reduce the number of members. Yes, as of now it is having 220 members. So it need to reduce 20 members in order to convert that company into private company. Okay, next one. Would your answer be different if about 25 members were employee in Jagannath Oil Limited for the period from 1st April 2006 to 20th June 2017? Nothing but they acquired those shares not as an outsider. They acquired those shares as employee. That means they will be called as employee shareholders. So for the purpose of calculating 200 limit in case of private company, we need to ignore employee members. So out of 220, we need to ignore employee members, that is minus 25. So it will be 195. So which is below 200. So further reduction of members is not required in second situation. Next one. A, B and C has decided to set up a new club with the name of ABC Club, having objects to promote welfare of Christian society. They plan to do charitable work or social activity for promoting the artwork of economically weaker section of Christian society. The company obtained the status of Section 8 company and started operating from 1st April 2017 onwards. However, on 30th September 2019, it was observed that ABC Club was violating the objects of its objective clause, due to which it was granted the status of Section 8 company under Companies Act 2013. Discuss what powers can be exercised by the central government against ABC Club in such a case. So in this case, ABC created ABC Club, which is a charitable company, that is Section 8 company. So when a Section 8 company is created, it must follow the conditions which are mentioned by central government. It must follow the provisions of section number 8. What happens if it fails to follow them? If it fails to follow them, then central government will revoke the license which is given to that company. Okay, what happens after license is revoked? That company need to convert into a normal company, or it need to be dissolved, or it need to be sold to another Section 8 company having same objective. So if the license which is given by central government is revoked, it must convert its status into a normal company, or it must be dissolved, or it must be sold to another Section 8 company having same objective. And when this license will be revoked by central government? When it violates the objects of that company. So in this case, this company violates the objectives. So that is the reason why CG can revoke the license and CG can pass any of these three orders. So that is the content which is provided here. Next one and last question. An employee, Mr. Karan, signed a contract with his employer company, that is ABC Limited, that he will not solicit the customers after leaving the employment from the company. But after Mr. Karan left ABC Limited, he started up his own company, PQR Limited, and he started soliciting the customers of ABC Limited for his own business purposes. ABC Limited filed a case against Mr. Karan for breach of employment contract and for soliciting their customers for own business. Mr. Karan contended that there is corporate will between him and his company and he should not be personally held liable for this. In this context, the company ABC Limited seeks your advice as to meaning of corporate will and when will can be lifted to make the owners liable for the acts done by a company. So it is a scenario based company. So first we need to provide the definition of corporate will. So what is meant by corporate will? Corporate will is the protection which is offered by the company to its behind people. So behind people will make company to do certain activities. Because of those activities, company may incur losses or liabilities. Now, who will take this losses or liability? Company will take loss or liability. It will give protection to behind people who are responsible for these losses or liabilities. So here, behind people will not take part in losses or liabilities. So only company will take part in loss or liabilities and it will protect the behind people. This type of protection is called as corporate will. Now, if the company is used for fraudulent purpose, then this corporate will be removed. So in this case, Mr. Karan made a contract with ABC Limited for not to solicit the customers of ABC Limited. That is for not to attract the customers of ABC Limited. But in order to commit breach of contract, he created a company and this company attracts the customers of ABC Limited. Now ABC Limited filed a case against Mr. Karan. But what Mr. Karan is saying, I am different from company. So this act was committed by company but not me. So you can't sue me. Like this he was arguing. But the main fact is here he utilized the company for doing fraudulent acts. So that is the reason why here the court will remove the corporate will. That means for this fraudulent acts, company is not liable. Directly Karan is liable. So this is the answer we need to provide for this question. So by this we completed this video. And one more important point, RTPs and MTPs which are released for May 2022 exam are very important. So please give a special attention while reading those questions in your material. Okay, bye.